was kind of like jumping onto a hamster wheel. You can keep up with it, but actually, I mean, it's going pretty fast and you can't get off easily. And I think it was is an element of that. You know, it was something that we wanted to achieve, something we wanted to do, but then, you know, we basically gone from kind of having control and you know, over our own lives and what we did and when we did it and how we did it, to very much being, you know, part of a system, and not in a bad way. I don't think we were ever done, you know, we were hard done by in terms of the system, if you want to call it that. But it was tough because, you know, all of a sudden we're dependent on each other, you know, and it's a relentless schedule, and you're busy all the time, you're traveling all the time, you're away from home for months at a time, you know, and you miss a lot. To be honest, I think at that point, you know, my faith was pretty much non-existent in the sense of you know, personally living it. I would say, you know, it's something that's always been very close to my heart, and whenever I did get a chance, or wherever I, you know, happened to be at home for the odd weekend of the year, you know, I try and make it to church. There was no real consistency to it, and I think at that time of life, it was very much just going with what I felt was best, you know, and just trying my best to, you know, to figure it all out. It was tough, and as I say, certainly I wasn't being guided by my faith at that point in life. We went up to Scotland, and as you can imagine, that, you know, loads of fans will always come and try and find us somewhere. How they found out, I don't know to this day. These girls gave me a bag. I opened it up and there was a covering letter in there. And long story short, it said something like, you know, we've been praying for you in our youth group. We've heard, you know, a couple of times you sort of mentioned about your faith, or, you know, to be honest, I don't even know what they took it from, but they'd obviously heard me talk about something or the other. And so we felt really cool to give you this gift, and we hope that it will help you, you know, on your journeys. And I looked in the bag, and it was a Bible, which wasn't shocking to me. You know, I think they were quite nervous of, you know, to find out how I would receive that, a gift like that, because that's quite a bold statement, I think. And of course, they're quite young girls. I was only in my early 20s, so they're definitely younger than that. And it wasn't a shock to me because obviously I've grown up in church, I've got plenty of Bibles myself, even though I perhaps wasn't using them as much as I do today. But, you know, and I'd studied theology, so I wasn't unfamiliar with that. But really for me, it was kind of just a statement, certainly a divine statement, to just say, you know, what's important? As much as you're busy and you're doing all this stuff and that's all amazing, actually, this is, you know, this is the foundation. This is your foundation. So you need to reconnect with that.